Spark Accounting Show. My name is Jennifer Quinn. I go by Jenny Q, and I'm here today joined by the owner and CEO of Spark Accounting, Julie Babcock-Hyde. She is a CPA, CMA, a Profit First professional, and a QuickBooks Pro advisor. She has been helping businesses of all sizes for over 20 years. And she's here today to talk to us about 5 ways to increase revenue from existing clients. Like, how cool is that, right? And so we're going to go over those 5 tips, and let me bring on Julie Babcock-Hyde. Hello, Julie.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent.
Awesome. It's just barely morning. Like for us, we're in Mountain Time and it's 11 a.m. So we're just heading into the afternoon thing.
Exactly. The sun is shining. The smoke is gone. So it looks like it's daytime at least now.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And so I just want to welcome everybody watching, whether you're watching live or the replay. Go ahead and leave comments. And if we can't get to them live on the show, we will definitely circle back around. Julie will go in and answer each comment individually. And so I do see that we have viewers. Go ahead and leave a comment where you're watching from, and we can give you a shout out live. And while we're waiting for that, Julie, let's go ahead and move forward and talk about this kind of exciting topic, because customer acquisition is not just a small expense, is it?
No, absolutely not. It is very expensive to find a new customer, get them to, that know, like, and trust factor. It takes a lot of time and energy and money sometimes to get people to join on with you. And so, anytime a business needs to grow their revenue, there's really 2 ways that they can do it. One is to go out and find those new customers that want to do business with them. Or the second way is to find ways to provide additional services or products to their existing customer base. And a lot of times, if you can do it, that's more cost effective.
Right. Well, that makes perfect sense. And I love that you're addressing this, because you come from not just the accounting background, but you also have the business, consulting background. So let's dive into this. And before we do, I just want to give a shout out to Richard, who's watching from Palm Springs, California. He says, a customer you already have is really your best prospect. He said, great topic. So let's go ahead and dive in. We do have other viewers that I see. If you want a shout out, leave a comment. Or if you have a question, go ahead and leave that too. Okay, so let's just jump in, Julie. I'd love for you to talk about number 1. And this is analyze your customer. What do you mean by that?
So the first thing we can do is analyze our customer list. And we're actually going to pull that customer list. Now, I'm an accountant, which means I love spreadsheets, right? And so the very first person who talked to me about analyzing your customer list and figuring out what you could do for cross-selling sold it to me as, Julie, you can put this in a spreadsheet. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to do marketing and sales now because it's in a spreadsheet. So I'm a geek. I'm an accountant. So what you want to do to analyze your customer list is go ahead and get a download of your customer list. If you're in QuickBooks Online, you can grab a download out of there. If you're in some other system, almost every system has got a way that you can get your customer list out. So left-hand column, you're going to have all of your customers listed out. Across the top, you want to have a list of all of the services that you offer. So like if it were me and my business, I would say, okay, here's my customers. I offer bookkeeping. I offer tax prep. I offer payroll. I offer Profit First coaching. And I would go down and identify which clients are getting which services. And what we're doing is we're identifying where the gaps are. Okay, so I've got a client that's doing bookkeeping and tax prep with me, but for whatever reason, they're not doing payroll with me. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to say, okay, does this client need payroll? Are they getting it somewhere else? Is this something I can help them with? And now suddenly I've got a list of customers and services that I am not providing to them that I can pick up the phone and start calling those people. And hi, Landon.
That's awesome. Yeah. So the comments popped up on the screen. While we're here, hi, Landon. And also Colleen is watching from Boise. So hello, Colleen. So we're happy to have you. I see that we do have more viewers. So go ahead and leave a comment. We'll give you a shout out. Okay. So analyze your customer list is number one. I love that. Organize it in a spreadsheet. And by the way, I am not an accountant and I still love spreadsheets. I love how it's just structured. I do have friends though who has spreadsheets make their head hurt. But in this case, it's a super useful tool. And so you go ahead and you do that. And then what do you recommend next? After you have your customer list, and you've analyzed it and you've done, okay, all the steps that you said, these customers have this product, these customers don't, but need this product. What's the next step?
I think the next step is to really identify your best opportunities and not just, great. Sometimes there's low-hanging fruit, but sometimes low-hanging fruit is not always the most profitable. So we want to think about both what's going to generate the most bang for the buck and what is this low-hanging fruit that I can add on easily. So look for both of those things and then pick up the phone and call your clients. They already know you. They like you. They trust you. Pick up the phone and say, hey, what are you doing for this? How can we help you?
Well, and that's what I love too, is these are warm contacts. You're not making cold sales calls.
Exactly. It's so much easier to call somebody that you know is going to answer the phone and actually be nice to you when they answer.
So infinitely easier. Okay, great. All right. So, and let's go ahead and hop to number 2, which is to train your team to look for opportunities.
So it's important to not just be doing this as a business owner. You want to make sure you've got your team understanding the services that you offer and identifying issues. So I've got some clients that are in the lawn care industry. And so when they have the team out, if they see, bugs on their shrubs and trees, it's really easy for them to snap a picture of that and go ahead and when they get back to the office, say, hey, boss, look, these guys have got bugs. Can you call them? Maybe we need to spray their stuff. It's really easy to do if you have your team because they are in the day-to-day. They know what's happening, whether it's another service that somebody needs, whether it's another product that they need. My team looks for opportunities for, hey, these guys need help with credit card processing. These guys need help with getting ACH processing. These guys have got a whole bunch of people that they're paying as independent contractors that should probably be employees. Maybe we should reach out to them and talk to them about payroll. So if you want your team to know, what you offer and be actively looking for those things, but you have to ask them to do that. If they don't know that's part of their job, they're not going to do it.
Well, absolutely. And I want to know how you structure this training of your team. Do you pick like a product a month to teach, to have conversations about? Like, how do you actually teach them? Do you offer incentives? Hey, if you offer this product or if you bring me, bring it to my awareness that these clients need it, here's the incentive. Like, what do you do?
It varies from business to business. Some businesses will offer commissions. Some businesses will have a product of the month. I've worked with companies before where they're like, hey, while you're out, it's a home appliance repair or some of these other things. While you're out, here's a product. If you see somebody that needs this, offer it to them. And so there's different ways that companies structure that. For my own internally, we're just always trying to focus on what do our customers need and try to identify that so that if we have a solution, we can offer it to them.
Perfect. I love that. Before we go on to the next one, I want to read some of the comments. Colleen says, know, like, trust, and remember. I like it. And then Richard says, don't keep the team in the dark.
Great. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they're your, most valuable assets is your team. So yeah, perfect. All right. So number 3 that we have of the 5 ways to increase revenue from existing clients. Number 1, we had analyze your customer list. Number 2, we had train your team to look for opportunities. And now number 3 is stay in touch with your customers. Now, what does that look like?
You know what? That is easy. And I love that Colleen's on here because she is a master at staying in touch with your customers as a send out cards person. So I know she really promotes that. So I love that she's on here. But staying in touch with your customers is easy. Depending on what kind of industry you're in, you may only see your customer once a year and they may forget about you because they only see you annually. Whereas if you are sending out newsletters, you're sending out birthday cards, you're sending out, hey, I'm thinking about you cards, whatever that is, stay in touch with them so they do not forget you. You know, why do you think that the repair people that come out and work on your dishwasher or your heating and cooling unit, why do you think they give you magnets to put on it? It's so you don't forget them. And so finding those ways to make sure your customers don't forget you exist are important.
That makes sense. And the phrase that comes to mind, and I might be remembering it incorrectly, but is it top of mind awareness? Is that what we're looking for here?
Exactly. We just want people to remember that we're out there and that we're available to help them.
Yeah, perfect. Now, what has been your experience with, because I'm in digital marketing, so I'm all about digital, right? But what has been your experience with good old-fashioned, mailed paper newsletters? Do you have any experience with that?
We do some of both because there are still people that so much stuff is digital now. Mm-hmm. When's the last time you got a card in the mail? And how exciting was it to get a card in the mail?
Right. Yeah, you're like, hey, cool, something different.
So somebody took the time to actually send me something. I had an amazing experience this last Christmas. I sent out Christmas gifts to several of my clients, and one of them said thank you via a Facebook Live video, and I ended up picking up additional clients out of that.
Wow.
And so taking the time to show your clients that you appreciate them, send them a card, can really turn into who knows what, truthfully.
That's very cool. Of course, I love that story that someone's Facebook Live turned into additional clients for you. But who could have predicted that? Like, you just have to put the consistent effort out there. Like, if you had just sent a single card, my hunch is she wouldn't have had such gratitude. But it's because you keep in touch with your customers and stay in touch that that she probably really felt super grateful, and it's made you stand out from the other professionals that she works with.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So let me just bounce to some of these comments here. Colleen said, thanks, Julie. And Richard said, I don't like newsletters unless they have something truly important or interesting. Good point. He said, I am also a believer in cards, real paper cards. And so, yes, perfect. Love it. All right. So we are already on number 4, if you can believe it. Number 4 is remind your clients of the services that you offer. So you're already staying in touch with them. How do you remind them of the services that you offer?
So there's lots of different ways you can do that, whether that's, focusing on when you do send out a newsletter, maybe you put a focus on one of the products or services that you offer. Maybe it's just doing a reminder at the end of an invoice. Hey, do you know that we also provide XYZ? But it's just a matter of keeping those people informed. Some people send out regular education tips. Some people send out, specific email campaigns to say, hey, we're doing a special on this. But really making sure your clients know all the services that you do for them or can do for them is important. A lot of times people only remember what you do for them now. And so when they refer their friends, they're like, this person does payroll. This person does lawn care, but maybe the lawn care person also does bug barriers. Well, if they don't remind their clients that they provide that service, they're not going to remember when it's time for them. When they come home and they see spiders all over their front door and they're like, okay, this has to stop. They are not going to call their lawn care guy if they don't remember that they do bug barriers as well.
Great point. That was a great example because you're right. It's not necessarily a logical conclusion because you think I need to call an exterminator.
Right. Right.
unless you've
Right.
been
Unless you've been
taught or
educated.
educated.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
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 Okay, perfect. So here we are. We're going down to number 5 already. Colleen said the tangible touch. I love that. So, okay, so let's just do a quick review before we hit number 5, Julie. We've got 5 ways to increase revenue from existing clients. Number 1, analyze your customer list.
Yep.
Number 2, train. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, yep, that's a big one. I love that one.
Because it's on a spreadsheet.
Because it's on a spreadsheet.
Train your team to look for opportunities. Stay in touch with your customers is number 3. Number 4, remind your clients of all the services you offer. And number 5, I feel like we should have a drum roll or something, but we don't. So we'll just put it up there on the screen. Offer related products or services. Tell us about that.
It's really easy to, when you're out taking care of your clients, to identify additional needs or products that they need. And sometimes it may not be something that we do regularly. And so we have to, this is a plus, and it can also be a minus. So I want to talk about both sides of that. So let's take snow removal this winter. A lot of people had snow removal. And if our snow removal company at the office had said, Julie, do you want me to drop off a bag of ice melt while I'm out there? I would have said, oh my gosh, yes. I would love you forever if you did that and I did not have to try to figure out how to get to the store.
Absolutely.
And so that's something extra that they could do that wouldn't cost them anything more than buying the product, but would enable them to get some additional revenue. And honestly, I would have paid 2-3 times the market rate so that I didn't have to go to the store. And so finding those little things. Now, where people can get into trouble with this is, for example, somebody's at my house that's a handyman, and they say, hey, I noticed your gutters need to be cleaned. Do you want me to clean your gutters? Okay, well, they probably have everything they need to do that. So they get up and they clean out the gutters. And while they're up there, they're like, oh, you've also got a couple shingles missing on your roof. I can just run down to the store, get some shingles, and I can come back and fix that. Okay, so the problem can happen when we start adding these additional services that we're picking up a whole bunch of costs and things that we don't already have planned for. And so that's where you want to be careful. As you're thinking about adding additional products and services, make sure you pick ones that are not going to require a big additional investment unless that's really in your game plan.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Because, I could see how you could get so focused on increasing revenue that you're not slowing down to take into account the added expenses, the overhead, the increased need even for storing the supplies or whatever.
Exactly. And there are ways that you can still take advantage of those identified needs from your clients without having to do it yourself. And so having some other people that maybe you partner with or that are willing to pay you a referral fee, or maybe you just have a mutual referral relationship with, is a really good idea so that you can still identify your clients' needs, help meet them, maybe get a little money out of it, but not end up with a huge capital outlay or a huge expense investment that you weren't planning on, just to get, an extra $10 and all of a sudden you spent $50 to get it. We don't want to do that.
Perfect. I love it. Let me just come back to another few comments here. Richard says, what is snow? Richard, after this winter we had in Boise, that's not even fun to question. We had Snowmageddon is what we had. And then Christine says, I love spreadsheets and my accountant. It actually said, I heart spreadsheets and my accountant, Julie. So Julie, what are any other tips that we need to know? We've gone through the 5. What else do we need to know to increase revenue from existing clients?
I think the big thing is just make sure you're doing it smart. Think about your customers, make sure you're meeting their needs. If there's additional needs that you can take care of for them, don't be afraid to reach out and offer those services. These people already know you, like you, and trust you. And if they have, if they're not happy with a service provider that they already have, they want to know that you can do that. But ultimately, we want to get out there and grow that. Those are the most cost efficient new revenue dollars we can add. So don't be afraid to reach out to your existing customers and see what you can do.
Perfect. I love that. And as a consumer, I want to say that when I have someone, like, I'm just going to use this example, let's say my insurance agent, calls me and says, hey, I noticed we don't have this covered. Would you like for me? I'm so grateful that I don't now have to stop what I'm doing, price check or whatever, see what the coverages are, now have a new bill. I can just throw it in with what I'm already paying. It's super easy, super seamless. So I think sometimes we can feel like we're bothering people, but honestly, it's a lot like offering a plate of cookies. Like, you never feel like you're, imposing when you say, hey, would you like a cookie? And then if somebody says yes or no, you don't personalize it. And that's my favorite analogy when I'm thinking if I'm offering a product, hey, do you want a product?
Yeah, and
here you go.
That comment just reminded me of something with insurance agents. Insurance agents like to get multiple lines of coverage with a customer because it increases the stickiness factor.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the more stuff you have with a service provider, the more apt you are to stick with them because it's harder to leave. And so having more products, more services out to your customers can also increase your retention as well.
Very good. Very, very good. We are going to close with this comment. Lisa Malice says, Julie is awesome. Thanks for sharing these tips. And so I echo that, Julie. Thank you so much for sharing. These are awesome. This is so cool that you take your time to hop on Facebook Live and share all your knowledge with us. So thank you for that. And thank everybody for watching. And again, if you have a question or a comment, go ahead and leave it on this stream, and Julie will definitely go back and answer those. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for joining in.
All right, everyone have a great day. Bye now.
Bye-bye.